Hi, my name is Leah Lovelight, and welcome to Reveal Microdose Conversations, designed to support you in your journey of radical self acceptance and empowerment as a woman. We hope you enjoy the magic. Okay, here we are. Leah and Jenna Reveal going live for you all out there in the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this video. We're live, but we don't actually watch the comments or anything else like that. So if you're joining us, we hope that you receive from this experience. We're kind of shooting live blind. So this call, this share, this video is really at the request of Jenna. She brought this forward a few times, and now we're following through with this ask. And so I just want to preface a point of asking, because we as co-creators, as we move through this journey of evolving Reveal together, we have to ask for what it is that we want. And not only do we have to ask as women all the time for what it is we want to also allow ourselves to receive. So if something is really important to you as an individual or to one of us as individuals, it's really important that we prioritize that ask. And so Jenna, I just want to say thank you for asking so that we can all receive from the power of what this message is that you want to bring forward. So I'm just going to hand it over to you and let you kind of introduce the topic and where you want to go from here.
Okay, so I have just witnessed a few different examples online, and it really got me thinking, feeling, and leaning into this idea and this practice of allowing your energy to come through and out of you in a safe, like dysregulated way. And so people, teachers, healers, instructors, showing dysregulation so that you can practice coming back into regulation. And I just love that so much. And besides even asking for it, it's this idea of just even what would it be like to experiment with it? So you might not even know it's something that you need, but just being wildly alive in wonder, thinking, hey, I might try this. Let's see what comes up. Maybe because you're just holding it together so much, you don't even know that something wildly alive is inside of you that needs to move, that could move, and you might feel really refreshed from doing that. And so what I'm talking about, you might have seen examples of people shaking things out, dancing, pounding the ground, yelling, screaming, letting tears come forth. And why it seemed to me to be really important to talk about this, Leah and I, is because this feeds into our retreat and how we hold space and the container that we create for a full spectrum of emotions. And this is a piece of what we do that you have full permission to show up in if this is what is alive inside of you, and you can express this, and we're here for it. So
I would just add on to even if you don't know it's alive in you, because we as women, I think even men, I think we as human beings are so conditioned to stuff things down, and that anger, frustration, emotion is really complicated to express because we're afraid of what people might think of us, the damage that we might cause, the potentiality of like, man, what if I just totally lose control and then I'm just angry forever? So even if it's not something that's alive in you, likely it could be something that's buried. And if we let it out, it is actually really healing for you. The book, When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate is a beautiful book to read if you are on a healing journey. And if you have a lot of anger in your life, it really does talk about the negative impacts of anger and not actually letting it get out, the impact of what it's like to shove down. So that's definitely a resource that I would recommend, When the Body Says No. because when we listen to our body, things change. So, and then I just want to draw forward a little bit, Jenna, in the fact that like when you originally brought this forward, you were really thinking about it from the lens of being a mother. Because
Right.
I think within motherhood, and most women are mothers, I think within the lens of motherhood, how do you get out your frustrations? How do you get out your harder feelings? And so I just want to kind of put that back onto you just to share a little bit from your lens because you are a mama of four, and this is a journey that you've been on. So can you share a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of back up and just say that I take in a lot of sites that are parenting sites, responsive parenting, and how children regulate themselves within co-regulation with their parents. How does that happen? You as a parent need to be regulated to be available as a resource to your children. How do we as parents and mothers be that resource? So when do we give ourselves permission to do our own tantrum, screaming, crying, raging, so that then we're showing up for our children to do that process and like come back to their center? And I do think that the carving out the time and the permission piece is a challenge, right? Or like Leah had mentioned, we might not even know it's something that could be of benefit because we're just, so used to this mode of maintaining. And for me, I have a specific experience that happened to me a few months ago where, I had some stressors happening in my life, some relationship hardships, and I was on my way to Costco by myself and listening to some music that made me feel, good, starting to percolate my emotions. And I was feeling just overwhelmed. I felt like I could not get a handle on the emotions that were starting to just surge out of me. And I was trying to do some deep breathing, and I was thinking, Jenna, okay, get a cap on this, get this under control. And then I sort of had this epiphany and said, wait, what are some of the resources you have been taking in? What are some of the teachers you've been listening to and practicing with? No, I don't need to put a cap on this right now. Let this out. How about move some energy? Yes, I know I'm driving, but I don't care who sees me, who's driving, in the lane next to me. I turned the music up even louder and I just started to scream. And I just screamed and screamed and screamed. And then that did end in tears, and it ended in deep breaths. And by the time I got to that parking lot, I felt so much better. It felt like so much had been resolved just in that permission that I gave myself to not stuff it, not get a cap on it, not pretend everything was good and normal, just let it out. And that was just a really beautiful experience for me. And so now I kind of joke around how I do this thing as I drive out to Costco, but I mean, it's a legit practice. It's a great space for me, actually, if I'm in the car by myself. So that is my personal example of doing that. And I do know that, sharing examples or witnessing other people in examples of letting out your emotions in a safe way so that your kids can actually see you then regulate. That is also very, very healing as well. But the Costco trip was my specific example of recent of why this is all really important to me to share right now. So
yeah, I love that. I do want to just say that I too use the car for my place of yelling. I've never met a steering wheel that hasn't held on with all of the shaking. I would caution people, if you've never done this before, to make sure that you're doing it for the first time in a vehicle that's maybe just parked in your driveway and or in a parking lot and not operating. But it is a really good space and place to let it out, because the steering wheel will hold you no matter how hard you shake it. I mean, hopefully, in my own personal experience, I've shaken a lot of steering wheels. And then the best part is you can roll down the windows and let that shit out. Just let it out. Like it's a really safe place to do this. If you are wanting to do it in your home, though, you can also just tell people, look, I'm going to go into the bedroom and I'm going to yell. And like nobody else come in. I'm just going to yell for a few minutes. I'm going to let myself like let this out and then I'll be back out. And so you can communicate to your household what's going on for you as well. Like we don't have to have a story for every feeling we have.
Right.
Sometimes we just want the emotion to be in motion and come
Yes.
out.
Mhm.
So, I know a lot of times when we are on a healing journey, we get caught in the story of like, why am I feeling this way? I need to know why I'm feeling this way. When
Right.
really what needs to happen is just some movement of that emotion.
Smooth that energy.
Move
Right.
the energy. So,
Yeah.
um, do you want to share the photo shoot experience or should we share the experience of letting it go first? Which way would you like to take this call?
Ooh,
You design on the fly.
let's let it go. Let's
Okay,
let it go.
let it go. So
Because
what we're
here's why I think we should let it go first. If
yeah,
people are still watching
hope
and
you
they see
are.
us let it go, and they continue to watch, you are our people. And you're
Yeah,
here for a reason,
exactly.
right? And if
Exactly.
you click away because that was just too much out of your comfort zone, that's okay too. Peace and love, right?
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Exactly. We'll let it go for you. So what
yeah.
we're gonna do, so what you know what's happening right now, because there's gonna be a little bit of silence because we don't want to yell in your ear. So we're gonna move through 3 steps. The first step is we're gonna work our energy up. We're just gonna get our body going a little bit, whether it's tapping, dancing, whatever it is we want to. You just want to get your energy moving. Again, emotion in motion. This is what we're calling forward. You're going to then see us yell 3 times, not hear us because we're both going to be on mute. You're going to hear us yell 3 times. And to the best of our ability, we are going to be looking at you so that you can see the process of what our bodies are going through. You can understand how we are letting this emotion move through us, even though you can't hear it. And then we will pause after our yelling and you will see us sitting in silence so that you can actually experience us coming back into the regulation. So, one, we're activating the body. Two, we're inducing dysregulation within our body. And three, we're allowing our central nervous system to come back into regulation. So, it's going to be probably, I would say, a minute total, maybe a minute 20. So, we're both going to go on mute and then we'll come back together. And so just a few seconds of activation, and then we'll move into the yelling, and then we'll move into the regulation. Feel good?
Yeah.
Jenna's
Well,
like, wait, what did I get myself into?
in all transparency, just the conversation around the permission that's coming, I'm already feeling emotions come up into my throat and into my face. So I mean, I'm
Yeah,
excited and I'm vulnerable. This
yeah.
it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I feel it in my stomach, and that in itself is an example of tracking where you're feeling sensation in your body. So like as
Yeah.
I get ready to activate anger, letting that rage come up, I feel it in my stomach. Jenna, you feel it in your throat, And so that's part of this process of learning to regulate in and out of dysregulation is like tracking within your body. So, all right, are we ready? Should we do
You're
it?
in control of the mute?
You got to mute yourself, sister.
Okay,
I don't think Zoom
yeah.
lets me. I think Zoom could let me mute you, but you're going to mute yourself. I'm going to mute myself. So we'll go on
Okay.
mute. Here we go. Okay. So inside of me right now, I have a lot of vibration going. Um, I feel a little sadness surfacing. I'm in a story of grief in my life right now, and grief is a wild roller coaster. And often when I let emotion come out, my grief will come with it. So, and then I also feel like a tingling vitality that I haven't felt, in a while, of allowing that to be present. So I invite you to share what's present for you, Jenna.
Yeah, definitely warmth, and I'm very charged. And what I observed through the care was how good it actually felt to bring the hands to my face and then down through my neck, the collarbone area, and thinking, oh gosh, does it take me yelling and screaming to bring this practice to my body? It actually doesn't. But what a nice reminder that I can do this any time of the day, whether I had just released or not, as a really comforting and nurturing thing to do. Because this for me is really is a lot, is giving me back a lot of center and peace. So yeah, that's just what I just got from this experience. So
I appreciate that.
yeah.
I'm now like fully starting to feel the reintegration and the calming. The real calming. The buzzing is gone, and the real calming is here. And I think for me, as you share touching your face in a tender way, like
Mm-hmm.
me, the wiping of my arms and the hugging of myself. And when I
Mm-hmm.
hug myself, I'm giving myself a little back rub, I'm giving it love.
Yeah.
And I'm also telling myself, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. Like, it really is an opportunity to be tender and loving to yourself and actually let that shit out at the same time. So
Right.
let's just touch a microdose on the retreat, like just
Sure.
a small little hit on it. So one of the things that we do during the retreat is we actually invite this practice in community. And
Yes.
so we will work with fire in this experience
Mm-hmm.
and move through the stages of anger, grief, and joy, and really run that spectrum of vitality. Like, these emotions are so deeply connected into our heart, because oftentimes if we're angry, it's because our feelings have been hurt in some way. If we have grief, it's because of this vacancy of love. When we
Mm,
have joy, it's the embodiment of the vitality of all the magic that's truly happening in the present moment. And so for us, one of the beautiful parts about the retreat experience itself is that we get to practice dysregulation with integration as a collective, and then we get to reflect on that as well.
yeah.
If you've never ran a series like that, it's quite remarkable and very inspiring. And then in addition to that, in the story of you, what you get to reveal through the course of the retreat can follow into your photo shoot with Jenna. And so I'm going to pause there and let you talk about the photo shoot, and then you tell me when to share the screen.
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted us to return to this piece of education. It's never a one and done. So a constant reminder of giving yourself permission to come to retreat with us and reveal, is this permission for a full spectrum of who you are? We are here to help you radically accept yourself for exactly where you're at and whatever is alive and within you. So that could look like joy. It could be rage, sorrow, grief. And you can exude that and still be held in love and acceptance. And being witnessed in that is really impactful. And then also being able to witness yourself through the photography that captured you releasing processing, and whatever else comes up for you is really an unfolding of this magical story. You nor I actually can predict exactly what's going to happen. And I think that is the beauty of it. And so Leah's going to share some photos of having her own process in nature, and just to give an example of what can be and what is invited.
There we go. So this was me on my second reveal with Jenna, and beautiful, beautiful spot here in Montana. And she invited me to yell, and I yelled and I yelled, and quickly after, some people walked by too. I remember that. So it's me yelling, and then me integrating, and me coming home, and me really feeling the sensation course through me, and then really just allowing myself to think, process, and wonder what that feeling actually brought alive within me. And so this wasn't a specific, we didn't plan for me to yell in the woods. It was something where, like, through the course of our conversation, I was like, let's get this out. And so the invitation was brought by Jenna to yell. And I think that's one of the most special parts about being photographed by you, is that you have a way of listening that really is like what the soul is calling for to come forward. You know, the first time I was photographed by you, it was really like I recognized it as being like having the art of me captured, the art of my soul captured. And so our soul is here, I believe, to have a human experience. And within that human experience is a whole spectrum of a lot of complicated shit.
Yeah.
And so that's the best part about you, Jenna, is like, you're not afraid of the shadow, and you're not afraid of the light. You are like so embraced by all that everything is welcome, and that you have just a beautiful, magnificent way of holding presence. So for that, I thank you, because you changed my life for sure, being captured behind your camera lens. So yeah.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for showing me yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so to wrap this up, anything else that we want to give to the listeners, or maybe we'll see some comments and we can answer questions later.
After we click off and, you know, sign off, I'm going to think of a zillion things, but right here in the moment, no, I feel complete. I really appreciate this time. I appreciate that we answered, you know, the call to my ask. It just felt really important to me. And so I wanted to share that with our community at large.
Yeah, thank you. And so I'll end with an invitation. How might you, me, in the next day or two from when you see this, give yourself permission to deregulate so that you can re-regulate, and experience the spectrum, whether it's in your car, on your steering wheel, or in your bed, yelling into your pillow, or if it's outside somewhere, hopefully not public, because that could cause some confusion in public. But like if you're outside on a walk and you just want to let it out, let it out. So the invitation to complete with is, how might you bring this into your life, and just allow yourself to experience it and see if it's a tool that actually does work for you as it works for us. So yeah.